y'all, this is Kasakma Keperu for Project Illuminated, and today I want to talk to you about one of my favorite subjects, which is self-actualization. Now, what is self-actualization? I defined it as being held accountable, responsible, being independent, and having agency. So let me go into a little bit deeper into that subject so I can expand on that definition. If we look at traditional African societies, one thing that differentiates them from the European society of the time, mainly the Greek and Roman cultures, is that African society was based on the principle of Mahad, which is the Kemetic deity of truth, justice, and righteousness. But more so, Mahad symbolized relational thinking and bringing context to certain things. So what do I mean by that? In an African society, whether it be a village, a nation, a tribe, an empire, if a person were to commit a crime, let's say a person was a murderer or a thief or what have you, in those African societies, they would first look at the society as a whole and see what society did or didn't do to contribute to this person varying from the path. So they needed to understand where society failed the individual to allow this individual to commit these transgressions. Versus the Western frame of thinking is that, you know, your actions are independent of what's going on in society as a whole. You cannot expect an individual to sit and spend hours and hours playing a video game where a digital character is shooting people up, carjacking people, beating up on women, and not expect that those actions will be mimicked in real life by the individual. Now, one can make a very good argument saying that people should have the understanding and wherewithal to differentiate between the digital world and the real world, which is true, but we all know that one possesses a spirit, or we'll say the subconscious mind, that at certain points is very open to being influenced by the media or by things that are repetitively shown to us. But going back to self-actualization, one of the things that African societies did, which was brilliant, was to awaken an understanding of self within the individual. And in awakening that understanding, which you'll know the Kemetic adage is know thyself, you begin to understand yourself, but not only that, but your place within the universe and who you are. And with self-actualization comes agency. So you are an individual who is equipped to deal with everything in life and has the independence and ability to make your own decisions and to go out there and make a path for yourself. Now, in those African societies, they set it up nicely to where the individual would be taken through initiation, and then they would go through a whole spiritual crafting so that they could be a full person. Unfortunately, what we see going on today in Western civilization is what I call is a codependency relationship, where you are dependent upon some institution for practically the rest of your life, whether it be the government, an organization, an institution like school system, university, a job, and so on and so forth. Even a religious society where you're in church for most of your life and there is no graduation. In other words, you're going to be dependent upon that minister, you and your family, for practically the rest of your life, and even perhaps through generations and generations. So that is really a codependent relationship, and at no time does one come to an awakening of self or become self-actualized. See, the truth of the matter is, what you're not being told and what no one wants you to understand is that you are not meant to be dependent on any external outside influence to become who you are. You are brought into this world or to this incarnation as a divine being. and that you're having an experience through the body, which is the vehicle, and you have an incarnation objective or a destiny that you must fulfill. Now, to educate a society, the people within a society, and to have them become self-actualized and have them understand that they have agency, then would inevitably mean the death of many of that society's institutions. So, for example, if you're going to church every Sunday and the minister suddenly becomes awakened to the fact that he or she is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they tell you on Sunday, all right, after about 6 years, I'm going to train you for 6 years, and after 6 years, you'll need no more spiritual advice from me. You'll be able to go outside to the world and be this very spiritual, humble individual to where you can now apply spiritual principles and make this world a better place to be in. No, your minister will not say that, because it behooves him or her for you to continually come there to tithe, to contribute to that religious order for the rest of your life. To have you become a fully self-actualized individual means that that there is no more of that codependent relationship, and for all intents and purposes, you now there is a point where there will be a separation between you and that institution, because it can no longer serve you and your goals. And that's exactly what that institution does not want, because that could bring down its value monetarily. And that's really what everybody's concerned about. So that is really what a true society should be doing, is to awaken within you an understanding of self and proceed from there on in. This is why I have to turn back to ancient African civilization, because not only was it built upon a very, very strong moral foundation, but it was the goal to awaken each and every individual so that they could go out into the world and transform the world and make it into a better place. This is why in ancient African culture, individuals studied the metaphysical as well as the physical, because we understood one directly played into the other, and that if you're understanding these dynamics and this relationship between the universe and yourself, then at some point there is no need for you to have a spiritual advisor, to have a mentor, because you will become fully aware of what's going on and aware of yourself as a divine being, as a God man or a God woman. So that's important. Think about that. The Western way of thinking is to not look at things in terms of how society contributed to your development, and also to promote the idea of individualism above the collective interest of the group. So therefore, the society is not held accountable for anything it puts out. It's not held accountable for a justice system that is not fair and not balanced, because everything is separated. Nothing is related to one another. Nothing has an influence, whether directly or indirectly, upon the other. And when you build a society that is based on that, and saying that, nothing in society causes an influence on the individual, that the individual is apart from all of that, including the universe around you, then you set yourself up for a big fall. Because what you're doing at that point is that you are creating laws, policies, ways of living that are not harmonious, that are not connected to one another. So therefore you will have this, not only this disconnect, but this contradiction in principles, so we have to think about that. And this is why we see in today's Western society so much conflict between these individual groups, these special interest groups, which are all vying for positions of power. but yet we cannot see how many of them share things that are in common. But there is this tendency to say, my beliefs, my goals are above your beliefs and your goals, void of seeing everything as contributing to the whole, So a self-actualized individual is one who does not need a preacher. One does not need a mentor or a motivational speaker or coach to guide this person on their journey through life. A self-actualized person understands that he or she has agency and is responsible for their individual actions and understands their place within society and the universe. And your goal, no matter what you are involved in, is to become that individual, is to become that fully awakened person. You are not meant to be dependent on these various institutions for your freedom and liberation. In fact, the more I see that we are engaged in the political affairs to bring about justice, the more I see us going in the wrong direction, because ultimately you are placing your faith in things which cannot support you. We're always talking about, if my ship will come in, or, if only the Supreme Court would do the right thing, or if only the police would stop doing this. The more we do that, the more we demonstrate how truly powerless we are in ultimately placing our faith in these external institutions. Don't forget that the people who are in control, the Illuminati, one of the things they want you to do is to be trapped in the five senses. So if you can't see, hear, feel, taste, or whatever, then it does not exist. They don't want you to start thinking about the metaphysical and how it relates to the physical. They want you to get trapped in all externalism. So everything of the material realm is what's real. And anything that is apart from that is not real and is of no consequence. And that is the trap that you do not want to become involved in. So let's just keep in mind that you don't want to get involved in a codependent relationship to where you are dependent on any individual or institution for your salvation, that you are equipped and you're brought to this planet with everything that you need in order to gain your own freedom and liberation. And that does not necessitate getting involved in a protest or politics or anything like that or of that nature, because you have within you the power to affect change. And that change does not have to come through those physical devices, but rather through understanding your connection to the universe and understanding the power that resides within you. So this is Kasak Mahad for Project Illuminated, and that's all for now.